All right, guys, welcome to our Tuesday virtual training. Today's topic and session is going to be open houses. Specifically, we're going to cover the open house boot camp, which is one of our momentum classes. Now that we're getting back to doing in-person trainings as well as doing virtual trainings, we're going to be offering these courses both in person and then also via virtual so you guys can watch recordings after the fact. So we're diving into open houses because now you can start doing open houses again, and a lot of agents are having success with those, which we'll talk a little bit more about at the end of today's session. A couple things I want to point out. In the chat button, there are two links, Dropbox links. I'll show you those at the end of the class, but one takes you to the manual that we'll be following today, or this is actually a PowerPoint presentation we're following, but you have manuals that accompany this as well that you can access by clicking on that and grabbing the PDF. The other link takes you to our Dropbox where it contains all of the different open house materials. When we'll talk about some of those like sign-in sheets, best practice sheets, our open house packages that we sell that can help you with some of the information we're covering today. So those two links, just take a look at them. They'll also go out in the email that we send with a copy of this video. And so we're diving into it today. First and foremost, just a reminder, as you see here on your screen, hopefully you guys can all see the screen, is that this is proprietary property, which means that it does belong to not only RE/MAX, but also specifically RE/MAX Palm Realty, who has invested in this program. Therefore, this is your content to use freely as you want, but it does remain within our firm. So you can't share it with others or manipulate it as your own. So once again, today's class is going to be Open House Bootcamp. So let's dive into it. The purpose of today's class is to teach you a proactive approach for effectively establishing relationships with customers or those who are seeking to buy new homes. And as we dive into this a little bit more, you'll also see that this class allows for you to pick up listings as well. So we'll talk about how you can use this for that as a resource. Your expectation is after today's class, you should feel confident enough to consistently hold open houses, and the result should increase your business and total revenue by effectively holding open houses, which will garner you more buyers and sellers. The plan is you do an open house, you develop new customers, those new customers become buyers, you put them into a client care system, which means that you're servicing those customers, they become sales, and then those sales will yield to more referrals or more new business. So it's all circular. When you do these momentum trainings, you'll find that everything complements each other, and it gives you a path to follow to generating repeat business. And that's how you keep that momentum in real estate. So what is this course about? Open House Bootcamp teaches a very extensive, non-threatening approach. Sorry, my Zoom is kind of cutting this off here. So let me just, to meeting and following up with open house attendees. You learn to choose, promote, and hold an effective open house. In-home and follow-up scripts are discussed thoroughly. Plans to scripts and tools are provided. Scripts are very important. So we're going to cover a lot of scripts today. Just kind of things on what to say, just in case you're not sure what to say during an open house. All right, so know, do, and have. The things you need to know is the welcoming dialogue, which we're going to cover today, the labeling dialogue, which we're also going to cover today, the follow-up dialogue, justification dialogue, and when you're calling people or having conversations, you're going to have your follow-up list from your open houses, directional signs, time signs, guest registers, home criteria sheets. All of this is either provided or packages we sell as a company. I do have a chat here, so let me just take a look at this one. Amy says, I'm not seeing your presentation, only Dropbox screen. Okay, that's weird. Hold on one second. Let's kill that. All right. How about now? Can you see the presentation now? Okay. Well, all that stuff we covered was in your packets, so we're just going to go right past that right now. But unfortunately, we did have technical difficulty there. It was just showing the one screen. So the section we were just in was here. We're doing the open house plan, the no, do, haves. So once again, you're going to learn how your dialogues are going to be the things you're going to learn or know. And then the haves are the different things you need to have when you're doing an open house or your follow-ups. And we provide a lot of this either in this packet that you have or in that Dropbox that we sent you. And lastly, we do sell open house bootcamp packages that include everything else you're going to need. So we're going to dive into what that all entails, and then we'll kind of go over that information. I do apologize for that technical difficulty there. So this is basically the how this translates. When you first learn the information, it's all about consistency. We always talk about consistency within our company and working on just doing the right things over and over again. So when you're in your consistent phase, it means you're just learning how to utilize these resources. You can, if you were to do 45 weeks a year, so you get 7 weeks off of doing open houses, and you do 2 open houses per week, you're going to do a total of 90 open houses per year. The average number of people coming through your open houses, we'll say, is 5. The reality is sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 30 or 40. But if we use 5 as the number, that means there's going to be 450 people you talk to. If you can only get 10% of those people to actually meet with you or set an appointment with you, that's going to be 45 appointments set. And let's say half the time those people show up, you're only going to have 23 meetings. All right. If you're able to convert slightly less than those 23 meetings into customers, that's an extra 10 deals a year. So it kind of gives you an idea of how you can utilize this program to generate 10 deals a year as you become more efficient, which means same amount of people come through the door, but you're better at getting appointments with them, and they're more likely to show up because you're saying the right things. You'll see that your meetings increase and your ability to convert that person to a buyer increases, ultimately resulting in 23 sales a year. And then once you're proficient at open houses and utilizing the dialogue and the system, you could generate as many as 41 deals a year just by doing 2 open houses a week. I can tell you this is very accurate. There's a gentleman out of Fort Myers. That's all he does. He's got a sales team that does over 200 transactions a year, and they only do open houses. He gets all of his listings and all of his buyers from open houses. They have become extremely proficient at this type of system. So it gives you an idea of what you can look forward to if you start utilizing this system and take on this program. All right, core entrepreneurial beliefs. So this is what you need to believe when you're doing this. Is first of all, there is no growth without discomfort. There's going to be a couple things we cover today that you might say, well, I'm not comfortable with that. Well, if you want change and you want to grow, you have to have discomfort. All right. You live in a world of abundance. We're very fortunate. I just saw an article on Yahoo article yesterday about how the Florida market, real estate market, is blowing up because people are coming from all over the country to come to Florida. And so we live in a world of abundance. We live in a world of opportunity. The market does not and will not determine my income. That's an important one. There was people making very good incomes during the recession. There's people making very good incomes now, and there's also people struggling now, and we're struggling in the recession. It's not what the market's doing. It's what you're doing that actually determines your income. Your only limit is time. Focus is the key to success. I reap what I sow. Success stems from duplicable processes and systems. That's what today is all about, is creating a system and process that you can duplicate and continually do. It is unacceptable for my business to earn $0. You should not be doing activities that have no return. It's all about return on investment. People have lived before me. You're not the only people that have ever gone through real estate in Florida. Leverage is the key to abundance. It's a win-win or no deal. That's what our firm is built on. We believe everyone should have a win-win situation. It shouldn't be a one-sided situation. And it should be that same way with your customers. And cost is an only issue in the abundance of value. That basically means that if you can't determine or you can't articulate what your value is, then cost becomes an issue. That's very true on listing appointments. Real estate beliefs, real estate is a get-rich business. That's true. Real estate sales is basic. That's also true. Real estate sales is a task business. Yes, it is actually a task-based business. I will not convert 100% of the leads I do not generate. I love that. Another way to word that is we miss all the shots we never take, right? So you're not going to convert a lead if you don't generate a lead. All right, people will trust and follow what you can logically and tangibly explain. We'll go more into that. And it's unacceptable to leave a client's money on the table. So buyer beliefs, things you should be believe about buyers is time reveals all. Motivated, qualified, and loyal people buy homes. Buyers behave in a very specific way. Having a process reduces the risk that comes with buyers. Having a process is going to reduce waste of time. If they won't meet with you, they're not a buyer. And A buyers, meaning you're saying that they're A buyers, or in other words, they're good buyers, deserve my immediate time and attention. So there's a method to the madness. We're going to learn how to price according to goals when you're doing open houses. how to select high traffic areas, and shows well inside and out. This is a short slide, but this is one of the most important slides I'm going to point out. So I'm going to spend a little bit more time on this. When you're doing an open house, it needs to follow your goals as far as price ranges you want to work within. It needs to be an open house that's going to have high traffic, okay? And it needs to be an open house that's going to show well. If you go and do an open house in the back rural area of a neighborhood that nobody's ever going to drive by, and it's way overpriced, and it's doesn't have working air conditioning, and it's full of dead bugs, you are not going to generate very good buyers from that. You're probably not going to generate any buyers from it. You know, that's going to reflect how that house shows inside and out is going to reflect the quality of the listing. You want to be selective of the houses you're doing open houses at that are in high traffic areas, and make sure they're priced within the price point you want to work within. If you go and do an open house at a $50,000 mobile home, guess who's going to come through the door? Buyers that are looking to buy $50,000 properties. That may not be the demographic of customers you want to work with. Okay, so if they're not, don't do an open house just because your customer or another agent says, hey, I want you to do an open house at this property. Okay, so you got to be selective. That's a very important. Your success in your open houses has a lot to do with being proactive and how you set it up in the forefront. Okay, it's not the day of the open house that actually determines the success of your open house. It's your selection and what you do beforehand. It's your preparation. And here you go, preparation slide. So advertise your home 3 days before with a time sign only. We're going to talk more about a time sign, and we offer that in our packages, which I'll show you at the end of the course, what a time sign is. All right. You're going to inform 50 neighbors of the open house, and we're going to talk about that on the next page, what that means. All right. Buy a clipboard. We offer that within our open house package, but have a clipboard or have a surface that you can write on. Not every house you do an open house in, it has furniture. Should have hopefully countertops, but it's nice to have a clipboard you can write on. And it's also so your customers can write on it or potential prospects. You print your open house register, which you're going to see on page 20. We also have one as a company that's very effective. You're going to see that in the Dropbox. Print the tax records and MLS sheets. Print them, have them on a laptop, but have information about the property showing that you're knowledgeable about it. The tax records information, the MLS sheet on it. Print the summary support pages for all active homes. Be prepared. When we talk about preparation, when somebody comes through, maybe that house doesn't work for them. Know what else is in the neighborhood. Know what other homes are similar to that house. They came to that open house because that open house had something that drew them to it. So be prepared by having supporting active homes or properties. And then prepare a set of basic pricing tools. All right, so let's talk about holding an effective open house. Put out plenty of signs on way to open house. Make it easy to find. All right, we recommend 10 signs. So you're gonna have a lot of signs going to the property. And when we talk about high traffic areas, once again, if it's a house that you can get to just by using one sign or two signs, that's a good area. That means it's close off a major thoroughfare. It's going to be maybe it's a high traffic area. You don't want to hold an open house necessarily on a major highway, which is defined as high traffic, but easy to get to, accessible. Arrive at least 20 minutes before scheduled time to prep home. These are kind of best practices. This is not written in stone, okay? But make sure you're there before the open house. Your open house starts at 4. Don't plan to be there at 4 because you also have to go put out your signs and you want to prep the house. Turn on all the lights, make the house nice and light. That makes it feel larger. So open all the windows and drapes, turn on the lights, turn on the fans, make it comfortable, adjust the thermostat. I recommend going to the house before the open house. If they have the thermostat at 80, then maybe the day before, go there and set it to a lower temperature so it's nice and comfortable, especially in Florida. If it's hot outside or it's nasty outside, and you come into a nice cool house that's nice and light, it's attractive. Flush all the toilets. Once again, these are best practices. Some of these are kind of laughable, but it's developing a checklist or routine so that you continuously have to make sure you basically do everything. A lot of these seem like common sense, but you may forget them if you don't have them written down. So burn a nice smelling candle if needed. If the house has, maybe it's been sitting vacant for a while, it's got kind of that vacant mildewy smell to it or something, just make sure it smells good. Turn on soft music. Once again, it's optional. Write thank you notes so everyone registers. That's very important. We're going to cover that on page 22 within your booklet. It's also going to be one of these slides here. So increasing the traffic. You can have, guess what, guys? You can actually have a very successful open house without having a single person walk through your door. You say, Mark, doesn't make any sense. This is how you do it. So this is how you have a huge success in your open house, no matter what happens the actual day of. When placing the time sign, visit 50 neighbors and have the following conversation. So the time sign is 3 days before the open house. We have a sign you put in the ground. It's made of a dry erase material, and you actually write what day and time the open house is going to be. So say your open house is going to be Saturday from 1 to 3. You're going to go put a sign in the yard saying Saturday 1 to 3, and you're going to go put it in the yard on Wednesday or Thursday. Thursday at the latest, preferably on Wednesday. So you're building now when people are driving by, they know an open house is coming on your property, and it's going to be coming on Saturday from 1 to 3. So when you're placing the time sign, visit the 50 neighbors, you have the following conversation. This is where we talk about discomfort. There's no growth without discomfort. A lot of people don't feel comfortable going to neighbors' houses, knocking on the door, and letting them know about the open house. That's why we give you a dialogue on what to say. Also, when we talk about selection, this is not going to be effective if you're doing an open house, let's say in the ranchettes, where everyone's on 4 to 5 acres. You walk to 50 neighbors, you're probably gonna die, because that's a lot of houses to walk to. You're gonna walk like 50 miles. So this is only practical in communities where they're on standard size lots, 10,000 square foot lots, or you can get to the houses. But let me teach you the dialogue, what you do when you talk to a neighbor, so you feel a little bit more comfortable with it. You don't have to memorize it to a T. This is all suggestive. You can amend it to how you feel comfortable, but this is the dialogue. Hi, my name is Mark Sorville with Remax Pond Realty, and I'm simply stopping by to let you know I'll be holding an open house at the Smith's home at 123 Easy Street Sunday from 3 to 6. All right, so you're going to the neighbor saying, hey, it's Sorville's house right down the road, 123 Easy Street. I'm holding an open house on Saturday. You're introducing yourself. This is a key phrase. This is one that's not negotiable. You need to use this when you're talking to them. As an extra service to the Smiths, I'm informing their closest neighbors in case you may know of someone who is interested in moving to the area. Very important. You're adding an extra service. You're doing something above and beyond the average agent won't do. So you're doing something to help your customers sell their home. If you do, I would love to see them at the open house on Sunday. So you're saying, hey, I'd love to see you there, or somebody you might know that's interested in coming. Here's my card. If you or anyone you know ever has a real estate related need, please don't hesitate to call. It was a pleasure meeting you, and I hope you have a great evening. All right, now we're in the time of COVID. So this becomes a little bit harder than it would have been 4, 5, 6 months ago, when this wasn't really something where there's that concern you have. So you can still go ahead and do this. Obviously, you probably should be wearing a mask. You want to knock. You want to be 6 feet away when you're talking to the neighbors. But it may be more effective now, just because there's a lot of people are definitely not going to be doing it. But in time, things will pass and things will come back to somewhat of a normal platform where it's probably more appropriate to knock on neighbors' doors. So it's good to start learning this dialogue and start learning this habit. So these are power phrases. As an extra service or anyone you know, those bold underlines are called power phrases. We'll talk about that. So that's the dialogue. Hey, this is Mark from Remax Pond Realty. I'm holding an open house for the Sorvillas right down the road. I'd love for you to show up, or if you know anybody that might be interested, as an extra level of service, I'm letting all the nearest neighbors know. If you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell real estate, here's my card. That's essentially the dialogue. So by doing this, you've just opened the door to 50 or more relationships than you would have had otherwise, putting your business in a much better place at the end of the day than it was at the beginning. Real estate is a task-based business. It's a numbers-based business. The more people you talk to and the more relationships you make and the more conversations you have, the more opportunities you'll have. There are conversion rates. If you're very, very effective, you can talk to 10 people and maybe get a sale out of it. When you're first in real estate, or you're not comfortable with a lot of dialogues or scripts, or you're kind of still sharpening your skill set and experience, you maybe have to talk to 50 people, but it's still a numbers game. So this is teaching you how to get those numbers. So now this is what happens once you're actually holding an open house. So the first thing you do is you put your time sign in the yard, you talk to the neighbors. Now here's the day of the open house. All right. Somebody comes to the door, and we're going to try to determine if they're a looker or if they're a serious buyer. And so this is the dialogue. So they walk through the door. Hi, my name is Mark Sorvilla with Remax Pond Realty. Come in and make yourself at home. Greet them at the door with an engaging smile and handshake. Right now, maybe not a handshake. Get a mask that has a big smile on it, right? So I don't try to light your eyes up. Let them know that you're excited that they're there. This is the line you use because we want people to register. We want people to sign in, because the whole goal is to get contact information, is to generate opportunities to talk to people. So this is how you introduce having them sign or register or sign in without it being confrontation. You blame the seller. So the seller would like a record of everyone who has been through the house today. So could you please sign my guest register? You hand the attendee the register on a clipboard. This is why you want a clipboard. And I would also appreciate any comments you have regarding the home on your way out. This actual register is in our Dropbox. You'll see at the end of the class. We hand them out in the physical training that we do, but that's the document you're gonna use. Take your time, look around, and let me know what you think. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Don't helicopter them. Don't follow them from door to door, room to room, looking over their shoulder. All right, here's a good time to talk a little bit about best practices. If the home is occupied, but your customers aren't there, okay, and they have very sensitive things, request that they put them away. Don't leave guns out. Don't leave medicine out. Don't leave money and jewelry out. Make sure they put it away someplace secure, and let them know that you do watch prospects going through the home. But if you have multiple prospects going through the house, and also it's not best practices just to stay right on top of them, you know, people are maybe going in your rooms without being monitored. So prep your customers that they need to put their personal private belongings into a safe location. But this is great advice. Don't fly over the people. Don't play tour guide. Let them walk around. Let them come to you with questions. All right. It's more disarming that way. When you're speaking with someone and new lookers enter the home, interrupt the conversation and acknowledge the new guest by saying hello and welcome. The seller would like a record of everyone. So basically what this best practice is if you're engaged in a conversation with a customer, somebody new comes in, just say, hold on 1 second, I'll be right back. Introduce yourself to the new people, give them the clipboard, explaining that the seller would like a record, tell them to go make themselves walk around. If they have any questions, to come back to you, and then go re-engage your conversations. Don't allow someone just to walk into the house and not be greeted, all right? We do recommend, if you think it's going to be a very popular open house, maybe even team up with another agent, so there's 2 of you there to capture as many opportunities as possible. But you don't want someone to feel ignored. All right. Once lookers tour the home, your goal is to answer any and all of their questions, which is revealing information. Identify exactly where they are in the buying process. So are they lookers or are they actual buyers? And close and or follow up accordingly. So take appropriate action. So we'll go over those steps now. So this is all, when we talk about a process, we're developing a process here that you can repeat and use over and over again to get comfortable with open houses and kind of the format you want to follow. The bottom line is you must engage customers. Providing relevant information. Part of your role is to provide the looker with information. When answering looker questions, always follow up your answer with a question. This keeps you in control and the looker engaged. So this is where I've been talking for a while. So now I'd like a little bit of interaction. I'm going to call out Amy real quick. Amy, can you hear me? You're going to play the role of the looker on this one. Amy Harrington. Ready? No. How about now? Can you hear me? All right.
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't paying any attention.
Oh, I know. Hey, I get it. So here we go. Well, what do you think about the home?
I love it, except for it doesn't have a pool.
Well, clearly you don't see the script that's sitting right in front of you.
I'm not paying any. I wasn't paying any attention to you. What am I doing?
The script
I'm
on
just
the slide
reading?
right here. So let's try this again. Well, what do you think about the home?
It's nice. How much are they asking?
The list price is $150,000. Does that fit your price range?
Yes. What school district is this in?
Oh, this home is in the Sarasota County School District. Is that a desirable district for you?
Yes. What are the property taxes?
The property taxes are just a little $6,500 per year. Does that fit your budget?
That's a little high for us.
Okay. So thank you, Amy. You did a fantastic job. Appreciate it. So what we're saying here is you're going to keep asking, you're going to follow up with questions. So keep providing the looker with information and re-engaging with questions. If we go back to that script, they asked how much the home is, you asked the price, and then said, does that fit your price range? What school district is it? Here it is. Is that a desirable district? So you're always asking questions. Your goal is to answer any and all questions they have and keep the conversation going until you hit an end. Okay, we may get booted out with this meeting here. We're having a lot of issues with Zoom, so we may end up doing this again on a different one. So upon hearing no, you must immediately switch roles from information giver to that labeler by asking the looker, are you currently in the market for a new home? Just a heads up for the people in this group, our Zoom account switched yesterday, and we're still kind of working through that. So if this times out, all of a sudden you guys just get kicked off, that's because our session ended, and we'll send a link out with this all the way completed through. So back into our slides here. So this diagram is in your workbook, so I'm not going to go over it, but basically it tells you what happens. If you are having a conversation and you ask them, are you currently in the market for a new home? And the answer is yes, you're going to follow the yes answer and then finding out if they have a process or if they're working with an agent. Okay. If the answer is no, you're going to ask them, what brings them here today? So we're going to go over these scripts. This is all in the scripts as well, but I wanted to show you kind of this paradigm here that you guys can look at on your own leisure. All right, yes and no. Once relevant information is provided, you must label the looker by asking, are you currently in the market for a new home? If they say yes, then you want to ask, how are you going about finding a perfect home? Most people are going to say, don't have a process. If their answer implies they're not being intentional, say, how would you like to use a proactive process that will ensure you get the home you want, more importantly, want the home you get? So this is that people will be attracted to something that you can logically explain and is tangible. So the customer will probably say, well, what does that entail? Well, it would begin with us getting together for about an hour so I can uncover exactly what you need in your next home, define your financial comfort zone, and thoroughly discuss the roles and expectations we would have of one another in a successful working relationship. Does that sound like an approach that would benefit you? If they say yes, you set a meeting. If they say no, then you go on to working through their responses to no. So if no, share with me why you feel that way. That's your question. All right. So the dialogue demonstrates an eagerness to help. People like the idea of you saying, hey, listen, we're going to meet for an hour. We're going to go over exactly what you want, your financial needs, and it's an eagerness. I want to help you. So people are drawn to that. If they say yes, you book your appointment for the first meeting. You send them a thank you card. You're going to send everybody that comes through a thank you card, and then you always call before the appointment. It doesn't have to be 4 hours, but I always recommend calling at least 2 hours before your appointment to confirm that they're still meeting you. All right. If you remember that first diagram I showed you, maybe only half are actually going to show up. So you want to call because you don't want to go all the way to the office or someplace to meet them and they don't show up. So you may be required to justify your reasons for getting together. Time is limited, so you must invest in vital activities only. Consistently emailing information to behaviorally unwilling buyers is a higher risk venture, or what we call a hot stove issue. Okay, remember, serious buyers behave like serious buyers. That's a very important thing to remember. If people are resistant to meeting with you, to have an intelligent, proactive conversation on purchasing a home, then they're probably not actually interested in purchasing a home right now. So they may ask you, you may say, let's have a meeting, and they'll say, can't you just email the information? Your response will say, do you not see a benefit in us getting together? They say, well, other agents don't have me do this. Well, here's your response. Exactly. Understand that I'm a real estate consultant and I'm extremely serious about what I do. I do not do this part-time. I run a business, and I'm not just in the business of showing houses. I'm in the business of satisfying needs. I have a process that I use with all of my clients. Before I start emailing you information, we need to find your perfect home and make sure the homes we consider fall well within your financial comfort zone. We need to thoroughly discuss our roles and expectations in a successful working relationship. I believe the best approach when investing a large sum of money is to operate as an intentional, proactive team. Wouldn't you agree? I love that line. Hey, you're investing a large sum of money, probably the biggest asset of your life. It doesn't make sense to me for an hour to develop an intentional and proactive approach and to work as a team. Like, if they aren't biting on that, then that might be an issue. So if they agree, yeah, you're right. No, that does make sense. Let's set an appointment. If they don't agree, you say next. Okay, that customer, you're not going to convert. Let's not keep pushing on that person. There's plenty of fish out there is what they say, right? Advanced dialogue. So here's other ways to answer that. If they say, why should we meet? You could say, it is important that you make an informed, intelligent decision. That's a good question. Is it important that you take a proactive rather than a reactive one? Is it important that you get the home you want? More importantly, want the home you get? Is it important that you make a logical decision rather than one based entirely on emotion? Basically, all of this is, hey, we should meet for an hour to discuss your real estate goals. They say, well, why should we meet? These are your responses. Doesn't it make sense to have an informed, intelligent decision? And then if they say, yes, it does, then Shouldn't we use a proactive process that will guarantee these things? These are dialogues to read through, and you guys can team up together and actually try to do different run-throughs and try to kind of work through these together so you get more comfortable with that language. All right, Looker is working with another agent. So I don't dive too much into these slides. I'm going to kind of cruise past them both for time reasons, but also because I believe that when you ask the question, are you working with another agent? If someone says yes, then the best response is simply, reach out to them with any questions you have about the home. Continue to work with them. If for some reason they're not assisting you the way that you envision, then here's my card. You can always reach out to me, but you just table it there. The reason these slides exist is that the whole goal is that if you truly believe you're a real estate consultant and you're going to be in the best interest of somebody you're working with, then it's the dialogue that you should use to make sure they're actually getting the services they need. Unfortunately, there are agents out there that are not truly helping their customers reach their real estate goals. But I always just recommend, hey, you got an agent, continue to work with them. If for some reason that relationship doesn't work out, I'm available, basically. All right. So Looker's not a buyer. No, I'm not in the market for a new home. So you ask him, hey, are you actively in the market for a new home? No. Okay. Are you currently in the market for a new home? Looker says no. So what brings you out today? Well, I'm just looking around. You're going to get those tire kickers, right? You're going to get people that are just out. That's a fun thing to do. Look at houses. Have you ever thought about selling your home? So here you go. Maybe they're not looking to buy right now. Maybe they're thinking about selling. So if their answer is no, do you know anyone who's interested in buying or selling? So they say, no, I'm not looking to buy or sell. Do you know anybody that is? Maybe you can get a referral or a lead out of that. If they say no, not at this time, then you simply say, hey, it was a pleasure speaking with you. If I can ever be of service to you or anyone you know, please don't hesitate to call. Thanks for your time, and I hope you have a great day. All right, so you're kind of moving on past that. Remember, if they say no, you must say next. You cannot spend forever trying to squeeze, what do they say, blood out of a stone, right? So Looker is not currently ready to buy. They're just looking. These are great questions to ask. Are you currently in the market for a new home? We're just looking right now, or no, I don't think we're ready to buy. Well, when do you think you'll be ready to buy? 2 to 12 months. What's important to you about waiting? 3 months. Let's say the answer is 3 months. What's important about waiting 3 months? Listen to their answer, respond. Maybe their answer is, well, we're waiting 3 months because our daughter's graduating from college and we have to wait till she's done, or whatever it might be. This is your response. Well, would you mind if we stayed in touch with you through the mail as well as a phone call now and then? That way, when you're ready to buy, we can virtually ensure you're finding the home that meets your specific needs. They might hopefully say that that's fine. So you're asking permission to follow up with them. They're not ready to buy now. There's a reason why they're not ready to buy now. This is where you're going to take those notes, put it in your contact management system, so your CRM, and you're going to follow up with them. So they say that'll be fine. Hey, great. Is this your home mailing address and phone number? You point to Register Street, make sure they get the right phone number, make sure you got the right address. They say yes. So they say, why don't you go ahead and take the home criteria sheet and fill out. We'll show you where that criteria sheet is at the end of this. So take it home with you, fill it out, get it back to me, and that way I know exactly what you're looking for. What are your goals? Believe it or not, a lot of buyers never sit down and actually put pen to paper on what they're actually looking for. They just start saying, I want to go look at homes, and they contact an agent, and they never have an in-depth conversation about, well, what do we really want in a home, and why do we want that? You thank them for their time, and it says, pleasure meeting you, and I look forward to visiting with you in the near future. Thanks again for coming. Have a great day. All right, so follow-up dialogue. Make sure you follow up with attendees who signed the register and were just looking. So this is what you would do with the registrar that said, hey, I'm just looking, I'm not ready for 3 months. Hi, this is Mark Sir with Really Max Palm Realty. Did I catch you at a good time? Yeah, sure. First, let me say that I really enjoyed meeting you at the open house on Saturday or whatever day it might be. Did you have any further questions about the home? If they do, answer those questions. Did you see any other homes over the weekend that you'd like to know more about? See if there's anything else there's interested in. Answer questions for that one. Then, did you have an opportunity to complete the criteria sheet? Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. If they did, say, did it help you with decisions? If they didn't, say, okay, well, I understand. I know everyone's busy. That might help you with your decision making. As I recall, you said you were about 3 months away from buying. Is that still accurate? If they say no, ask for a more accurate time frame. Maybe things have changed since you last talked to them and they need to buy now, or maybe it's still accurate and you put them in their follow-up system. All right, so this is your follow-up dialogue. Once time frame has been established, ask, so how would you like me to proceed from here? And I love this. This is when we talk about setting expectations with customers. I mean, I don't want to bug you, but I don't want you to feel like I'm neglecting you either. So how should I follow up with you from this point forward? Define call frequency and identify the appropriate follow-up program. In other words, do you want me to communicate via text, email, phone? How would you like me to follow up with you, and how often? Because I want to make sure you don't feel like I'm neglecting you, but I also don't want you to feel like I'm bothering you. All right, great. That's great for any buyer. That's not just for open house customers. That's really something, a conversation you should have with all your sellers, buyers, family members, pretty much anybody you talk to. It's great to set those expectations. All right, so if your time changes, please let me know, because I really want to help you find your perfect home. Thanks, and have a great day. All right, so basically you're just showing an eagerness to work with them and making sure you're setting expectations. There is a method to the new environment, so holding an effective virtual open house. All right, so this is going into virtual open houses. Select virtual meeting platform, identify data capture system, identify your type of buyer. This may actually have to loop back, because once again, if this time's out, I'll have to do a full-blown another video. But holding an effective virtual open house. Confirm dates and times with the seller. All right. Hopefully you guys understand what a virtual open house is, but basically you're holding an open house where people can log in or see a live video feed and interact with the house. All right. Prepare a virtual open house marketing material, create registration system, publish your registration link, confirm with attendees as they book, and create a follow-up system. All right. First step is always confirming with your seller when you're going to hold it. All right, so here's your action when you're holding an effective virtual open house. Use all social media platforms to advertise times and dates of the virtual open house. Arrive 20 minutes before scheduled time to prep. So same concept. You're going to go into your meeting before everyone else is supposed to show up. Same idea. When you go to the house, turn on all the lights, make sure all the drapes are open. Adjusting the thermostat isn't as important if you're the only one there, but you want to be comfortable. Definitely flush the toilets, monitor the virtual waiting room, bring in the first attendee. Okay, capture contact and pertinent information for the buyer, begin your tour, and follow with attendees. So they're going to get in line, and you're going to walk through and do a video with them live of the house. And they might say, can you open that drawer? Can you do this refrigerator? Now, virtual open houses are still impactful and still being utilized, but in our environment here in Southwest Florida, regular open houses are coming back in full swing, in full force. There's best practices being used by CDC. You're going to still try to keep distance. You're going to want to wear masks. You want people sanitizing. Maybe you ask them not to touch anything. But people are more likely now to physically go to the houses than they were just a few months ago. And so virtual open houses are still effective. But I'm going to recommend dedicating your resources and times towards physical open houses. During our small group session, we had a lot of agents talking about how effective and success they're finding with open houses. And we're talking even 4 to 6 weeks ago that they're getting a lot of people and getting transactions out of those open houses. So, key question, how do I host successful virtual open houses? What key items do sellers look for in a virtual open house? Take 5 minutes and raise as many responses as you can. Sellers will work with me because my open house is blah, blah, blah. So that's your pre-virtual open house packet. All right. So virtual open houses, preparation tasks, select meeting platform you will be using, schedule professional photos of the home, determine how you want to coordinate time blocks with attendees. Upon attendee registration, confirm time slot with each attendee. So people are lining up before the open house, scheduling, let's say you do 10-minute time blocks. Someone's going to say, okay, for Smith, you're going to log in and you're going to, for 10 minutes, we're going to do your Zoom session. Then the next person. All right. Open house execution. Once again, I want to kind of go through these fairly quick just because we're going to run out of time. But these are best practices that are in your workbooks. Okay? And let's dive back into your, this is the local dialogue. This is very similar to following up the same dialogue that we had with the regular open house. All right, so open house tools. So this is for all. Welcome registration and feedback are appreciated. This is what your open house follow-up is. So this is a form you guys can follow where you put the client, the date they came in, the address you met them at. This is just for follow-up, and you'll see that at the end of your workbook and in the Dropbox. All right, these are your notes. So if you're writing a note to somebody, okay, so no buyer's presentation set. You met a buyer in open house, but you couldn't set a meeting with them. So send them a thank you note. Thank you for stopping by my open house Saturday. It was a pleasure meeting you. I hope you have a wonderful week, and please feel free to call me if I can ever be of a service to you or anyone you know. So you're mailing out a thank you card to them. If you set an appointment, it's the same type of language. Just saying, hey, thank you for stopping by Mobile Saturday. It was a pleasure meeting with you. And I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you again on such and such date. All right. Just thank you cards are so important. Handwritten cards really impact people because no one's really doing it anymore. And so just whether you set an appointment or not, always do a follow-up thank you card. This is your home criteria sheet. Okay. That's the end of the slides, but let me dive into the content for you guys real quick here. See if we can see my screen. And I closed out the drop boxes before. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to the chat and click the links I sent you. All right, so one link in the Dropbox that I sent you is this one, this Open House Bootcamp PDF. And this is basically the entire program we just went through. You can download it by clicking a little down arrow here. All right, direct download directly downloads it to your device. This Dropbox is in our REM Dropbox. If you guys weren't aware, we have a Dropbox for all this content for the company. The link I sent you sends you directly to the open house one, but if you want just our general Dropbox, it's rem.ax as in Remax, so rem.ax / that's this angle, Palm Docs, PALMDOCS. All right. So, in here has all the information we're given. This is best practices from Florida Realtors for open house guides. All right. This is the home criteria sheet you can print out and give to your customer. This is the open house best practices, so things to do. All right. The ones I really want to focus on are these. These are your registrations. So you print these. You can print 2 per standard page, okay? And then you're just going to cut them in half, and you'll get 2 out of them. And there's open house valued customer feedback. So when somebody comes in, you give them 1. This way they don't feel like they're filling out all their information and somebody else is going to see it. Each one is for each customer, okay? And it lets them put in their name, address, contact information, and how they rated different parts of the house. People are more likely to fill this out is what we learned through trial and error. I really want to bring attention to this one. This is the open house flyer. So if you, let me actually download this one and open it. So what we offer for $120 is you get 5 18 by 24 open house signs. That's these here that have directionals. 4 directional riders. That's these here. All right. The one coming soon time sign. So this sign right here, it says open house coming soon. In it, it has a dry erase material that you can write the day and time that's going to be. All right. We also give you 3 clipboards, which will fit the registration sheets. Sign stakes, and they're the nice thick ones, not the ones that like bend in half and are like when you try to put them in the ground. They're the actual thick ones that go into all these different signs. These are corrugated signs. Your best practices sheet and your science sheet. So for $120, I think it costs us, I don't know if price has gone up. I think it costs us like $116. So the company would make like $4 on it. The goal is to not really make money. The goal is for you guys to buy these things and use them. But you can shop around and go get them yourself. But these are all done from Ignite Graphics. I don't know if you're going to get a better deal. But you get basically 10 signs. You get your 5 open house signs with directionals, your directional riders. So you can put 9 signs out there. Your time sign, that's the most important thing. We do sell some of these individually. Some people have plenty of signs, but they just need the open house time sign. So we do sell them individually, but the whole pack's $120. And the whole goal is to give you everything you needed from today's boot camp and class to successfully hold an open house. So I wanted to point that one out. And then this is the open house sign-in sheet. I recommend the registration forms that we put on the little clipboards, but you have this open house sign-in sheet here. And then this is your home criteria sheet as well. So I blew through that a lot. We did record this. You get to watch it whenever you want. We also provide the booklet, which is really all you need. More than even this video is going to be just going through that booklet and learning all the language and time signs and best practices, and then access to this Dropbox. All this material you can take out and print, and then just contact the staff member if you want to buy one of the open house kits. And I think we have a few in stock, and if not, we'll order more. But I was just in the storage room this weekend. I'm pretty sure I saw a couple kits in there. And then talk around. Unfortunately, with this group and going so quickly through it, we didn't have as much engagement as we do in our live trainings. But talk to other people that are doing open houses, find out what their feedback is. Like I said, in our small group, we had a conversation, and one of the agents did one open house, and at the time of that, well, she did an open house 2 weeks before it. She already had one home under contract, was actively with customer writing offers on another contract, and actively showing homes. So it's 3 customers from one open house, already had one pending, actively writing offers with another customer, and actively showing homes for that third customer. So these are effective. That's why we do these trainings. We haven't done an open house training, boot camp training, in about 6 months because it wasn't really relevant. No one was having success with it. So we try to do our trainings to match what's actually working out there right now in Southwest Florida and that we're seeing in our environment. So I'm going to open the floor now to everyone. Does anybody have any specific questions? Any statements? Pat, go ahead.
Mark, is my mic working on this device?
We can hear you now. You're good.
Awesome. One thing that was not in your handout was anything about the virtual open houses. I just was going like, okay, where are those pages?
Yeah.
However, I agree with you. It's not time to be doing virtual. People are coming to open houses now.
You're absolutely right. And so I do recommend focusing your attention to regular open houses, not virtual. The flyer packet that you just held up, if it has clouds on the front, it's actually the older version.
Okay.
Okay. And so the new one with the virtual material in it it's in that Dropbox link is the new one. It has it in there. So that literally, I mean, we were doing these trainings 6 months ago. That's the packet you have. It didn't exist. And that virtual open house stuff, because we didn't know what a virtual open house was 6 months ago. So I do apologize, but we emailed it to you. We'll print them up at the office as well. But thank you for pointing that out, Pat, because actually that's a good point. George, Holly, Laura, do you guys have any questions? It's a pretty straightforward class. Once again, because of time sensitivity, I blew through it pretty quickly, but it's also boring, I'm sure, for you guys to sit there and watch me read and talk about things. So
I'm good. Thank you. I learned a lot. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yep. Mark, I've got one more thing.
Sure.
Florida Realtors has a poster that was part of their packet of stuff that they sent out to post at your house, saying masks, all the rules, the CDC rules. Is that in your Dropbox?
We actually have one of those. We had one of those for general showings on your listings. It's not in this open house. It is in the Dropbox. It's not in this one. Actually, what I could do here is if I go to, this is how you guys get to rem.ax/Palm Docs. This is going to take you to, if you click that link, it takes you to all our different things. I'm going to try to find where we had that material. Maybe Amy remembers.
I think it's under COVID.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think it's this one here. Yeah. So if you go to that link I clicked, if I can get back to it, it was actually the virtual buyers. So if I scroll down here where it says virtual showing resources, there's the different best practices stuff. And there is one in here for that, Pat. So you can use that one, or use the one from NAR is good. I'm sure FAR has one as well. But there are materials in here for when you're showing homes.
Yeah.
All right. But that's a great resource. If you guys haven't checked out that Dropbox before, it's got a lot of information in it, and a lot of the stuff that we cover, a lot of different things you need, our vendor books, our mastermind session recordings, things for showing time, all that's in there, and it's constantly having stuff added to it and updated. So, and for this one, if you had gone to, if you go to Momentum Training and you click on the open house, this is the open house bootcamp PDF that actually has the virtual open house. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
There. Okay. So that will end our session for today. I thank everyone for your time. Go out and do some open houses. Let me know how they go. We always like to have feedback from everything, and stay safe. Use best practices, and I'll see you guys around the office.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you guys. Take care.
Thank you.
Welcome. Welcome.
Bye.
Bye.